Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
What is up? What is going on, people? This is Corey Boatwright. I am your host of Real Estate Investing Profits, founder of realestateinvestingprofits.com. And I want to welcome you again to, what are we on? Are we on episode 39? We're at episode 39 of our Profit Masters podcast series. And we're continuing to bring better and incredible guests to you so they can reveal their Profit Master strategies that they're killing it in their marketplace. So you can copy those things and add them into your own business. Now, before we get going here with today's interview, which is incredible, I want to remind you to text the word profit to 38470. 38470. All you have to do is get out your phone. Obviously, if you're not driving. If you're driving, don't be looking at your phone, okay? But if you're not, get out your phone and text the number 38470, just like you're going to text to somebody you know. Just put in the number 38470 and then text the word profit. And what you're going to find is a response to get your down and dirty ultimate real estate investing quick start guide. And from there, you can watch it and read it right there from your phone. All right. So today's guest is Tony Javier. And, he's somebody that is got a great story, man. This guy is all about producing quality. He's someone that has really worked his way from waiting tables and investing for, somewhere in between 15 and 20 years. He's been doing this for a long time. And you're going to really enjoy his strategy on rent to own. Okay, so he's going to give you some things about rent to own that are going to open your mind to, maybe I should keep a few of these things and not just wholesale them. And he's going to tell you about some of the profit margins there. He's also going to tell you about the team. He's going to tell you about how he's been able to structure things in systems and tell you about the importance of people. This is a great interview. You're going to love it, okay? I met Tony Javier in one of our masterminds, the Collective Genius Mastermind. Make sure you go to joinmymastermind.com, and read all about Collective Genius. You'll love it. See if you're the right fit for the group or not. It is an incredible group. By the way, if you're interested in taking your game to the next level, what we are doing right now is providing Do Your First Deal. Do Your First Deal. With 95% of the people that listen to our show, they haven't even done their first real estate investing deal yet. And I get it. It can be scary. There's a lot of fear involved in some of that. You hear about all these other people doing these deals, but you haven't done your deal. So if that's you, I want to talk with you because we're going to do a Do Your First Deal breakthrough strategy session. Okay. What I want you to do is go to the website, realestateinvestingprofits.com. And at the very top, you're going to see a little link that says coaching. Click on that and watch that little short video that I made for you, and then book your strategy session, okay? I think that would be something that could really help you and take your game to the next level. You hear more people talk about it on this broadcast than really anywhere else about the importance of a coach and mentor. I know it happens in my life. I know I have a mentor in my life that has helped me significantly. I will always have mentors in my life, and I highly recommend you do the same. All right. So here is our interview of the day, Mr. Tony Javier. Bye now.
Tony, my man, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Corey? How you been?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. Thanks for taking the time to be on here. I am not going to keep you too long. I know that we had a cool little conversation about apartments actually before this, which is kind of cool. But you're not really focusing on multi-unit. You're focusing on doing rehabs and doing a killer job. Why don't you go ahead and take a quick second here and talk about your area of expertise in real estate and also kind of what made you want to get involved in investing?
Yeah, so I bought a course on TV that most people have probably seen called the No Down Payment System.
The Carlton Sheets.
Carlton Sheets, old Mr. Carlton Sheets. Yeah, so I just put that course to work and just started buying properties. And so that was back in 2001. So
Yeah.
15 years later, I've got a full staff that does most of the heavy lifting for me. We buy properties. We buy them under market value. We rehab them. So rehabbing, I would say, is my number one focus. And once we rehab a property, we'll put it on the market for sale and rent to own at the same time. And if someone happens to buy it from us and cash us out of it, great. And if someone comes and says, hey, we've got a down payment, we can't get financing, but we need to, we'd still like to live in the property.
Sure.
Allow them to rent the property while we help them with their credit. And that allows them to, live in the property now while they're trying to get their financing in line. So that seems to have been a great program for us where, profitability goes up quite a bit on those because we don't pay real estate commissions.
Right. Now, are you a brokerage too? You have a brokerage and...
My sister, I used to be licensed. I got rid of my license. I got my sister licensed.
Okay.
So she has her real estate license. She puts our properties on the MLS and does that part of it for us. And then...
So the money stays in the family.
Money stays in the family, absolutely. Actually, she doesn't make anything on the back end. She just has to pay a transaction fee to the
that's cool.
brokerage that she hangs her license with.
You just wanted to get the exposure on the MLS.
Right, that, and she goes through the MLS and makes offers on properties for us. So she does make a little bit of money on those.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So Carlton Sheets was a big influence for you for investing. Is there anyone else that's kind of stuck out? That was a leader or an influencer for you?
Well, this is probably maybe not the right time to say this, but Donald Trump. Some people love him. Some
Why
people
not?
hate him.
Why not? This is a great time to say. We just lost half our audience, and you gained a whole bunch more followers.
Yeah, exactly. So no, he's always thought big. He's always done big things. So I've read some of his books.
The Art of the Deal. Did you read that one?
Yep, I have. It's been a long time ago, but anytime you see someone doing big things, obviously right now he's doing some different things, but anytime you see someone doing big things, you can learn from them. And so him, Than Merrill, from Fortune Builders, he's been an influence. He really actually is the one that really got me to see that you could really build a bigger business out of this. And
so you were just kind of playing on a smaller level before you really started to see a scale possibility?
Well, we were doing a decent volume at that time when I had met him, but...
what time was that, Tony?
It was probably about 2010, I want to say, maybe 11. But just seeing that they pitched, systems, people, scale your business, I learned something from them, but then I also went out and learned from other people as well. So if anything, he's the one that really put that on my head that I really need to systemize what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
Get good people in place and make it a business rather than just, me grinding every day. And so now, fast forward, 5 years since then, and now I've got an automated business. I've got systems in place. I've got people that do a lot of the work for me. And I really don't have to do much anymore, but just kind of check on things here and there.
Right. I know you just moved to San Diego. Is that right?
Yep,
San Diego, beautiful San Diego. 5 hours away from Hawaii. You know that, right? Just a 5 hour.
I was just there last week.
So beautiful. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
But, life wasn't always like that, right? So you said you had to hustle and you were kind of doing everything yourself, which I know it's kind of like pulling your hair out. Did you have a breaking point in your life that you said, enough's enough, I've got to change what I was doing to really start focusing on this investing thing? What were you doing kind of before, investing?
Well, I've been doing this for 15 years now. So really, I waited tables in college. That's what I was doing when I started the business.
Wow.
But I've had a couple breaking points. One of them was a time when I had 4 employees and I ended up getting rid of 3 of them. And all 3 of those employees were actually living in my properties.
So you got rid of employees and lost tenants too.
Oh yeah, it was one of the worst situations I've ever been in because not only do I have to fire employees, but I also have to evict them out of my houses because they're not paying their rents. Found out a couple of them were stealing from me.
Sure.
And on top of that, I've got to do the work that they were doing before, and then try and find new people to hire, and then still try and continue to grow the business. And man, it was a tough time. And so since then, I said, you know what, I'm not only putting good people into my business, but I really had to. That's about the time I met Dan, but I also had to, put great systems in place so that even if something like this does happen, I can easily replace that person with someone else because those systems are already in place.
Right.
And so that was one of the breaking points that I had that really made me change things and actually almost got me out of the business. But luckily, with my drive and just the way that I work and my work ethic, man, I just pushed through it and got through it, and glad I did because now I get to reap the rewards of the work over the last 5 to 6 years to get to that point.
Putting in the work is an investment, right? In the beginning, it's almost like you're investing in your own work bank account. And eventually, it grows, and then things happen. You have to take away from that. Sometimes you gotta withdraw, but if there's something there, then it's okay. A lot of times, like you said, sometimes you don't have anything left, and maybe you're at that point there where it's like that's so stressful. How did you get through it? That kind of gave you. Did you just naturally have drive? I mean, I've talked about this before. You can teach talent, but you can't teach heart. Did you naturally have drive that just pushed you through that? Where you said, well, "What can I learn from this?" And how am I going to get through it?
Honestly, I've had drive since I was little. I've been in sports since I was 6 years old. Played high school football, and was all city in 3 positions in football, and played 3 total sports. And I've just always had the drive. And anytime something that big happens to you, I wasn't very grounded at the time, so I went through a pretty tough time mentally. Luckily, I had that drive to push through it, or else I wouldn't have been able to. I mean, I was a pretty big mess for about a year or two, just because anytime you identify yourself with your business and you feel like it's starting to go down, then it's like, crap, I'm getting ready to lose my identity. What's going on here?
Right.
And so you just have to shift your mentality and shift some things around. And finally, I took a seminar that really hyped me up and got my head back up and just started.
What was the seminar?
Actually, it wasn't really a seminar. It's called Bold. I don't know if you've heard of it. I had my license with Keller Williams at the time.
Oh, okay.
And
like
so
training that they put on.
Yeah, it was like an 8-week course, and a lot of it was just about mindset. It wasn't really about real estate. It was just about going out there and just doing the things that you need to do on a daily basis to really get through the tough times, to deal with tough people, and just do what you need to do on a daily basis to have that energy and that motivation to do what you do. And man, I'll tell you what, just being around other people like that and just getting back in that mindset really helped me push through it big time.
Makes the difference. That was actually, I was going to ask you about one of your big mistakes that you had going through some of your investing kind of journey. But I think that that kind of, you killed 2 birds with 1 stone,
Sure.
On that one. Let's talk about something a little bit more positive. What is what we call our Profit Master investing strategy? Something you're just a master at. You guys have just got this thing down. I think it's going to be something with rehabbing. Can you share what's working really well with others listening?
Yeah, I think it's 2 things. One is we find opportunities that some people just don't want to get into. So we'll find the properties that have the foundation issues, find the properties that are only 2 bedrooms on the main level, which in my area don't sell very well.
Things that scare
and we'll figure
people.
out how to. What's that?
Things that scare people.
Absolutely, things that people just say, this isn't for me. They want the more simple deals. So finding those deals that are a little bit tougher are great for us on the front end, finding properties that we know we can add value to. Foundation issues, roofs that are just look like haven't been replaced in 40 years that are, you got ceilings caving in and things like that. Those are the types of deals we love to do.
How do you find them, Tony?
We find them all over the place. We have a TV commercial out that does really well. We just started doing radio. We haven't seen much from that, but it's only been a couple of weeks. We're hoping that'll build some traction for us.
I know Than's on radio a lot.
Yeah, all over the place. Facebook marketing. We do postcards. We do the MLS. The MLS is a pretty decent lead source for us. It's very competitive, but it definitely there's definitely some deals to be had if you have someone that's going in there consistently to find them. So finding those opportunities on the front end are something we specialize in. On the back end of it, when we're selling it, I kind of mentioned it already, is we do a lot of rent-to-own properties. And what's great about that is it builds our profitability in the deals that we are currently doing, but it also allows us to do deals that we normally wouldn't have done. Because if you look at, we call it the left and right side, we have a deal analyzer that on the left side, it shows what we'd make if we flipped it and sold it outright. And then on the right side, it shows what we would make if we did a rent-to-own.
Sure.
And we can make, let's say we find a deal that we typically would make 20 on the left side, which would be flipping it.
Okay.
We can make 35 on a rent-to-own because we don't pay real estate commissions, we don't negotiate, we don't pay the buyer's closing costs. We sell them faster. We may not have to put as much into the properties because those buyers aren't as picky. There's a lot of different.
How much down do you get, Tony?
What's that?
How much down do you get on the rent-to-owns?
We get anywhere from 3.5%, which is our very minimum,
okay,
so that they can have the down payment for FHA already there.
Okay.
And then some will put 10, 20, 30% down when they have it.
And do you am those over, actually, I guess it's rent. So do you am them over 15, 20 years?
Well, it's not an amortization. It's just a rental payment.
Oh, so, that's right. So you're just doing, just a rental payment. That's right. Yeah.
That's the other advantage over owner carry.
Owner carry, yeah.
Get rental rates rather than an amortization, which is a lot more money. So if we make 20 on the left side and 35 on the right with rent to own, and we look at properties that maybe we would only make $5,000 flipping, normally we wouldn't do those deals. But if I feel like I can make 15 to 20 grand doing a rent to own, now I can pick up deals that I normally wouldn't have, because now I'm not going to flip them. I'm just going to keep them as rent to own because that's the way that I know that I'm going to make money.
When you do these, we did lease with options, right? And so I always liked lease with options because I could sell the same house, 4 or 5 times. And, so I always liked that. With the rent to own, do you find, how many people are actually buying the properties? How long it takes them to buy the properties? How many of those are you actually cashing out? I think you told me before you have a pretty high percentage.
Yeah, we do. And just to clarify, lease option and rent to own are pretty much the same to us. Some people, they may change a little bit, maybe a little different. But what we do is we set them up to succeed. So there's some people that will say, you know what, if you have a heartbeat and you have some money to put down, we'll throw you in there.
Right.
We're picky with our people because we really want them to finance. We've got a good name in Wichita, Kansas, which is our main market. And so we want people referring people to us. We want people happy with us. We want repeat business, if they decide to buy in the future again. So our success rate, it kind of fluctuates a little bit. There's times where we just get a drove of people who finance us out, and then we'll get a drove of people that end up moving out because they have financial issues and can't finance. But we set them up for between 6 and 24 months, so they finance fairly quickly. And our success rate is between 50 to 75% of the people that get into our program actually finance out.
That's pretty high.
It's really very high because if you look at the national average, I've heard a few different numbers.
25 to 30%. Yeah.
I think it's under 5% is what I've heard.
Well, I guess it depends on what area that you're in. Yeah. Wow. You said national 5%? That's a lot lower than what I thought. I thought it was like 25 or 30.
No, I think it's definitely under 10%, but anything that I've read is under 10%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
That's low. Yeah. But, that's where I had a car lot business, I had a car business for 2 years.
Is there anything you haven't done?
It's called Boat Ride Auto Finders, right? And did it for 2 years and hated it. Absolutely hated it. My brother was involved in it. And I thought, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. And my brother could repair vehicles like 1995 and under. He could repair those vehicles. But anything over that, you just couldn't. So, but we had to buy here, pay here, and we'd sell, a lot of times we'd sell this, sell another car, same car. They'd have to go and get it repoed. and sell it again. And so the lease with option program was similar to that, but I found that even more people would not catch out. So what's your secret sauce to the screening process? Because I would think that's probably one of your kind of coveted areas that you've really dialed in to get that high of a success rate.
Yeah, we have a lender we work with, so we send every applicant to them first before we even show them a property. Now, a lot of buyers don't like that, but that allows us to pre-screen them and not waste our time showing properties to buyers that aren't qualified. So our lender will come back to us and say, either yes or no. And if it's a yes because of this, and here's what they need to do to get qualified for a loan down the road, and here's how long it's going to take. So we can go back to our buyers with a plan and say, hey, you're approved. We can put you on a 12-month program, and here are the steps you need to take in order to finance out. And
so literally the flow goes into the broker, and he handles everything for the screening.
Yep.
And then from there, the broker says, we got this guy ain't going to work, but these two are. And, here's what needs to. So you've got a pool of buyers all the time. You have a pool of buyers always looking for properties.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, my customer experience manager, which follows up with them along the process also when they're in the house to make sure they're doing what they need to do. Sorry, what was your question again?
I was just saying you have a pool of buyers.
Pool of buyers. I saw a squirrel.
A squirrel.
She will email me every so often and say, hey, man, I've got like 5 or 10 buyers. Right. Here's what they're looking for. Can we find them something? So we're continuously, seeing what people want. We've got a pool of buyers that if we need to, we can send out an email to when we come across a property, and we can have some of our properties sold before we even buy them.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Wow. So when you deal with these properties, is that something that you have private lenders? You raise money to get these properties to fix them up? How's that process work?
Yeah, we do multiple ways. Sometimes we pay cash for deals. A lot of the times, like you and I were just talking about, even if we've got the money sitting there, we'll still use private lenders. Right. So it's always more fun using other people's money. Plus, you got to keep their money working for them, because if you need it, then you got to have them there. You can't keep them stale. So we have a lot of private lenders that invest with us to fund our deals. And then every once in a while, if we have like a big project, it's going to take a while, we'll go to a bank and put a down payment down and pay the lower interest rate over a period of time to help our profitability on a certain deal. So those are the 3 ways we typically fund our deals.
And how do you advertise right now to find, I guess, these buyers? So right now, do you have something that you said you're running ads in Facebook and TV, things like that? Are you running ads constantly to say we got houses that if you're looking to rent to own? Is the message always rent to own?
Yeah. So when we put our properties up for sale, it's for sale and rent to own at the same time.
Okay.
So we'll put them on our website and then post ads on Craigslist and then drive them back to our website. So 90% of the marketing that we do out there is Craigslist, because that's where most of our buyers come from.
Right.
And I would say probably 1 out of every 10 houses, maybe 1 out of every 15 houses we actually sell without an agent. And I'm not talking about rent-owns. I'm talking about just people who have their own financing. So, last deal we did saved us, $5,000 in real estate commissions. And we've had properties we've sold that have saved us over $10,000 in real estate commissions. And
that's
it's all
great. It makes a difference, man. When you start doing how many properties are you doing a year right now, Tony, on average?
We'll do about 60 this year, maybe a little more.
That's great, man. When you start doing, a number of deals in volume, it starts adding up a lot of money, and every bit counts. I was thinking, do you ever do any kind of special programs like rent credits, and where if they accelerate paying something that they'll get a benefit from it?
We do give them rent credits each month for how long they pay. So I noticed that when you do a 30-year mortgage, about 6% of the payment typically goes towards paying the mortgage down, which is a very low amount. And so one of our pitches is, well, when you pay, you get 12.5% of your
You're
payment.
doubling. You're essentially
You're
doubling.
doubling. Yeah, you're doubling what you're getting plus compared to a bank.
Not to mention that you're paying full price for the property, but you're doubling. Hey, but here's the deal, right? These folks that are coming, they cannot go and get traditional finance. You know, they would. And the other thing is that you're providing a value to them, because where else are they going to go? You're well taking, you've got a great name in the market, you know, quality, and you're taking all the risk. That's what's interesting, you know? So yeah, there's a premium for opportunity. There's an opportunity cost. There's a premium to pay for it. And I bet you don't have very much kickback at all. In fact, I bet people just pay what you tell them that they're going to pay if they want the property, right?
For the most part, I mean, people are realistic. You know, we set the price at the high part of the comps.
Sure.
Comparable sales, for those you don't know. But it's typically because our properties are better than anything out there, because we put hardwood floors in, we do stainless steel appliances. I mean, when you walk into our properties, even our rent-owned properties are pretty much new.
That's great.
So, but yeah, you're right. They don't typically haggle the price. If they want the property, they're gonna pay the price as long as it's realistic.
I have a friend that owns 400 single family houses, all Section 8. And at one point he had a appliance rental division of this company where he would go and basically buy a stove and buy refrigerators and have a little storage and rent these to these tenants essentially. And they'd pay $50, $75 a month, $100 a month.
Very smart.
Very profitable. I thought it was kind of funny in the beginning, but very profitable. You ever do anything like that? Like little add-ons?
Does this guy live in Ohio by chance?
No, he doesn't. He lives in Oklahoma.
Okay. We've thought about that. We stage our houses. Sometimes we sell staging furniture so we can make some money off of that.
Right.
One time we did do rent to own on our furniture. And so they paid a certain amount per month until they financed. And then they paid the balance once they financed. But you're actually getting my mind turning again, some ideas that we could do since we own over 100 properties.
It's pretty significant. I thought it was a joke, quite frankly, in the beginning, and a hassle. But once you started telling me they pay forever, and then they pay these appliances premium prices because no one else, they can't go down and get an appliance.
Yeah.
So anyway, kind of an interesting a conversation. Well, thanks for going into that. And I think that's really cool. I think that's one of the reasons that you're successful is because your quality and how you understand what you're providing, the value that you're providing, and people see it. And that's why they continue to give you good remarks about your property.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that.
That's cool. Well, what is a lesson that you've learned that's helped you get to where you are today?
Well, I know I keep repeating some things, but I would say one of the lessons that I teach all the time is you have to have good people in place and you have to have good systems.
True.
Because if you have those two things in place, everything runs so much smoother. Right now I've got a team right now that does all the work for me. They send me contracts in my inbox and say, hey, we found this property. Here are the pictures. Here are the comparable sales.
Nice.
And have the ability to look over an email and buy a property in less than 60 seconds is pretty invaluable.
And so they go down to San Diego to get a margarita.
What's that?
Then go down somewhere on the beach in San Diego and get a margarita.
Yeah, enjoy the sun out here while they're doing all the work.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
It is.
So
it's great. That's great. So
to have that system in place to be able to do that, and then to have the people that I trust to do it, to be able to say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. It's invaluable because if I didn't have good people in place right now and they sent me, even if I had a good system, I still would question the properties I do a lot. But now they send me deals that are really tight. And I'm like, you know what? If that's the only way we can do that deal is at that price, then do it. Otherwise, if I didn't have a good team in place, I'd probably, from the distance away that I am right now, I'd only be able to do half the deals that we do right now.
Yeah, so basically you are a remote manager. I mean, you've got a place where you've got good people in place. They're doing stuff in Tampa. They're doing stuff in Wichita, and you live in San Diego.
Yep, exactly. I've got a home office. I've got a nice little view of the ocean, which isn't too bad. I still work a lot. I still put my good 40 hours in a week. But honestly, if I only wanted to work a couple hours a day and just check emails and kind of keep up on things, I probably could. And And it's all about people and systems.
That's so valuable. If you had to, that wasn't always the case though. So if you had to start all over, what would you change? Or what is some advice for new folks?
That's a great question. I get that question every so often. I would say the thing that I would do beginning is to have a plan and to get a mentor and or a coach to stay on track. Because for the first 8 to 10 years, maybe seven or 8 years, I did everything on my own. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor. Yeah. I thought I could figure it out myself. I thought if I was asking questions to other people that I was weak and that I didn't know what I was doing, which, sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. And once I started asking for help, once I started getting coaches, mentors, going to masterminds like you and I met at, it's just to be able to get information from other people and learn from what they've done before, so you don't have to make those mistakes, is just so invaluable.
Right.
And I could probably go back from day one. The mistakes that I learned have probably cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, literally, I could maybe even tag $1 million on the mistakes that I made in the past compared to what I have now and what the things that I have in place now. So had I been able to know some of those things up front just by, asking for help, it would have been a lot easier for sure.
So let's put some numeric, some metrics to that. That's interesting. You said that $1 million. So let's just say in the last 10 years, that's cost you $100,000 a month compared to if you just got a mentor and potentially maybe it cost you $50,000 or $25,000 or whatever the number is. That could essentially saved you $1 million just from those lessons.
Yeah, so if you divide it out 10 years, that would be $100,000 a year.
$100,000 a year. Yeah.
But just investing, let's say, 10 or 20 grand. And, sometimes you don't even have to invest in. Sometimes you can just get a mentor. They're not going to be as valuable as a coach because you're not paying them, so they're not as invested in you.
Right.
But even if you just meet with a mentor, once a month or something and just pick their brain and, talk to them about, what they did and, some mistakes that they made, that can keep you from making some big mistakes. In fact, my first mentor that I had saved me $50,000 on a deal. I went to him and I said, "Hey, here's the situation." He wasn't even in real estate. I just said, "I got this deal. It's got some foundation issues. I just don't think I can make the numbers work." And so we talked it through. And he said, "Why don't you just go back to her and ask for a $50,000 price reduction?"
Right.
I said, "It's crazy. There's no freaking way she's going to do that."
Right.
And so I was either going to do the deal and not make nearly as much money, or I was just going to let the deal go. So I went back to her and asked for a $50,000 price reduction, and she accepted. So had I not talked to that mentor and talked through the process of that deal, I wouldn't have made that extra $50,000, or I wouldn't have made any money at all on that deal. So that right there is the power of having someone on your side that can help you through a lot of the things you're going through.
It's great. Do you have a motivational quote that's one of your favorites?
I've got a lot of them. I think the one that I teach, I do videos in my trainings, and the thing that I say is be great and make it happen. If you go out there, just be as great as you can, do what you can, and just be the greatest that you can, and then go out there and make it happen. Because a lot of people they want things to happen, but they don't want to do the things to go make it happen.
It's true.
That's kind of the quote that I put together over the things that I've heard in the past. Is just be great and go out there and make it happen.
Tony's favorite quote is his own quote.
My favorite. I came up with it.
I love it. What books do you recommend? Are you a big reader? What's one that's really changed your life if you are?
Oh man, I'm a big reader. I think you do the same thing with Audible. I'll put audiobook on and put it 3 to 4 times speed, and
it actually will increase a basis IQ point, and it helps you remember. It helps you know the book more because you have to pay attention to it.
Is that right? Yeah, my wife hates it. If she hears me listening to it, it makes her so mad because she likes things slow.
My fiance is the same thing, basically.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of audiobooks. I've read books as well. I would say the one book that I would recommend that anybody can get something out of is called The One Thing by Gary Keller.
It's a great book.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's basically the premise is it's been a while since I read it, but if you're going to do something, concentrate on one thing, focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that meant if you're working on something, focus on what you're working on at that time. And then the big thing that I took out of it with my business is I went back to my team. I said, hey, what is our one thing? You know, he talks about if you're in business, what is the one thing that you can do in your business that if you concentrated on that, everything else would fall into place.
Right.
And so I went to my team and we came up with the one thing is buying houses. If we can find properties to buy, we've got the team to renovate them. We've got the demand for our properties. We can sell them. We've got a rental rent-to-own program that if something happens where it's not as a profitable a deal, we can keep it and rent it out. Our one thing was just finding deals. And so anytime we do a meeting, it's what can we do to reach our one thing, which is buying properties. So if there's any book that I'd recommend, I'd say for sure that's the book I'd recommend.
That's great. I love that book. There's also a lot of PDF downloads for that book
Right?
as well. You can kind of follow along and ask. It walks you through kind of the Cliff Notes. Yeah, it's a great book. And you can get it on Audible too. It's a great book. What's a mobile app that you use in your business every day?
Oh, man. Well, when I was looking at properties, realtor.com, you know, if I drove around and I was looking at, actually, no, I take that back. Even now I use it when I'm driving around San Diego or, you know, up towards LA area, you get a lot of expensive homes. So I'll be driving around just going, oh, what's that one worth? And I'll, you know, pull it up and be like, that thing's worth $5 million. Are you kidding me?
Right. It's right by the ocean.
So I'd say realtor.com is probably my favorite app. Of course, Facebook is a great app. But if you're in the business, man, realtor.com has a lot of great information. It's kind of fun to just browse around the properties and kind of see what's in the area of where you're driving at any given time.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. I would think you would have another mobile app, but realtor.com is a great app, and they keep making it better and better. Too, on things that you can do. You can do comps on there now and some other things. Do you have a morning routine? Are you a morning person?
Oh man, I teach this all the time to the students that I teach. It's when the thing that people make the biggest mistake in the morning is, I believe, is when they get up, they start checking their phone. They start checking their Facebook. They start checking their emails.
Right.
They just start getting into other people's agendas, which, you know, email is basically what it is. It's usually a lot of people asking you things. So for me, I don't check email until 10 o'clock. So when I wake up, it's usually about 6 o'clock. I don't never set an alarm. So when I wake up, and I spend the first hour of every day on myself. So I'll spend 15 minutes meditating. If I decide I want to write some stuff down, journal, whatever you want to call it, I'll just start writing some stuff down and just kind of clear my mind.
Right.
I'll go through my to-do list and just brain dump anything that I can think about that I need to get done throughout the day. That way I'm not, thinking about it in my head all the time. It's on paper, and I've got kind of a to-do list. But actually before that, I work out. So I meditate, I'll do a little journaling sometimes, and then I'll go work out. So I'll just spend an hour every morning on myself rather than jumping into electronics, jumping into email, jumping into
business, really.
Yeah, things that just bog your mind down.
Yes.
So if you can really center yourself in the morning and get that energy in the morning to really take on anything throughout the day, I recommend that to anybody. Just make sure that you kind of work on yourself first, and things that come at you throughout the day just makes it a lot easier to handle.
Do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
It's funny. I saw that question and I'm like, you know what? I am now. Like, you said you were sleeping 4 hours a night, and I've been there, man. When there's things that are on your mind and, you're wanting to get up and get ready to go. Yeah. I figured out that if I just relax during the day and just let my stress level just kind of come down, that I actually sleep better. So I went from 5 to 6 hours of sleep that I'd been doing for 10 years. And just recently I said, man, I gotta fix this sleep thing. And now I actually do sleep 7 or 8 hours. And it's just by letting go of some of the stress throughout the day, and it helps your mind at night. People think that sleeping helps the stress, but it also, stress during the day helps your sleep. which is not what I would have thought, but it really does.
Yes. I usually get between 7.5 and 8 hours. Usually get about 7.5, 8 hours. In the last month, I've been immersing myself into learning, and I go into this crazy mode. That's what Les calls it, crazy mode. She says I'm part machine, and I take it as a compliment. She doesn't mean it as a compliment. But I understand. So and plus you're by the ocean, so the pretty cool to have the calmness. The ocean represents your mind a lot of times. So just being able to relax like that is cool. Are you pretty close to the ocean?
Yeah, I can see the ocean from my house here, and it's about a mile down. I actually just took up surfing a few weeks ago, and that's probably another reason I sleep well.
That's another reason, right?
Do more things in nature, especially like in something like the ocean, man. Something calms you down, and you just sleep better.
That's great, man. Well, what are you most grateful for, Tony?
Oh man, I think just opportunity. I've got a lot of great things in my life, and it's because of the opportunities that I've had. And it's not just having the opportunities, but me being able to take advantage of them, just having the drive to jump into those opportunities and make them happen. I feel very fortunate for all the people in my life, for the business, and just being able to get up and do what I want, when I want, how I want. And it took a long time to get there, but to be able to have the ability to do that's pretty awesome.
That's exciting, man. And I know a lot of people just felt like, hey, yes, I want that. They might be working a job. They might be in a situation where it's negative and toxic. And so to hear you say that is it's powerful, because it's possible, and I know that you're doing a great job of that, and also showing your team how to really run a business compared to just a hobby is something that they're learning from you as well. So, well, you mentioned this before, but when would you really recommend the time to hire a mentor or a coach? How important has it been to your success specifically? I know you touched on it.
Well, it's funny. I just hired a coach again 3 weeks ago, and I took about a year off from coaching for some reason. I don't know why. But sometimes something works, and you kind of like set it to the side, and then you realize, man, that was working before, and you do it again.
Right.
So just in the last 4 weeks of coaching, man, and that's probably another reason I'm sleeping better, is just being able to talk through a lot of things, that I'm working on in some of my businesses. But as soon as you can, as soon as you can afford it, hire a coach, because they're going to not only show you how to do things better, but they're also going to keep you from doing things that you shouldn't do.
Right.
Man, if I had a coach 10 years ago when I started jumping into other businesses that wasted a lot of money, a coach would have been, hey, why are you doing that when your business right here is just starting to grow? There's so many lessons that I learned doing it on my own, that if I had someone else to talk it through with, or someone else to say, hey, why are you doing that and you need to quit it, it would have been very valuable to have that in the beginning. So as soon as you can afford to hire a coach, I would say jump on it and make it happen for sure.
That's great. Why, if you had to summarize it, why do you do what you do? What gets you up in the morning?
Well, it's changed over the years, which I'm sure it's probably changed for you as well. In the beginning, man, it was just money. It was like, man, I want to make money. I want to make a lot of money. I want to, have a lot of great things, put all these things in my head that I thought would make me happier. And then once I got that, it was like, okay, what now? Like, I've got all these things, and, I'm not 100% happy. And now for me, it's a few different things. I think, part of it is just building something bigger than me. Right now, if I were to, if something were to happen to me, I've got something that carries on. I've got a business that lives past me. So my wife can have, can still have an income and a lifestyle. So my employees can still, benefit off of it as well. So being able to build something great like that lives beyond me, I think is very powerful. Legacy will live on. And I think it's just fun to create opportunities. With all the businesses you had, obviously you do it because you like the creativity part of it.
Yeah, creating is fun.
It's just fun to be able to, say, hey, here's a problem, I'm going to solve it. Or, someone told me that you could make money off of this, or you could develop a business off of this, and to go research it and lose a lot of sleep over it and obsess in it. It's kind of fun.
Right.
As long as you don't let it consume you. So
Right.
I would say those are the reasons that I do what I do, for sure.
That's great. Yeah, that's, it's good to see kind of your transition right now. I guess that's a good word for it, of where you've been and what you've accomplished, and then where you are today. And I'm excited about where you're going. I think that, seeing just get better and better at focusing on your core strengths, which I think you've identified very, very well. You're an expert at this rent-to-own game. You're an expert at having these quality products and these houses that people want to live in. And what's great about it, man, it's so damn profitable too. It really is, because you have specialized knowledge. And we talked about that before, how important specialized knowledge is. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here, share some of those things that are working for you, serving us. I appreciate that. If there's a way that we can help you and serve you, what is that? And then how can we get in touch with you?
So if someone wants to kind of check out what I do, you can go to getmyprodigy.com. That's Prodigy, Prodigy, getmyprodigy.com. I've got a lot of great stuff out there. Sorry about that. I've got a real estate blueprint that I put together. You can download. I teach the 5 pillars of real estate, and you have a lot of great information out there to show people what I do. I really, kind of like you, I just want to give people that opportunity to really have the opportunities that I've had and that you have as well.
Right.
And so I like sharing my knowledge. It really sharpens my game. And so if you guys want to go check it out and kind of see what I do, love for you to do that. And
getmyprodigy.com. We'll put that in the show notes. And then 5 Pillars of Real Estate, we'll have that as a download somewhere. We'll make sure we get that in the show notes for you too. Tony, thanks for being on here. Really appreciate it a bunch. Any final closing thoughts?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. I've followed you for a long time over the years, Corey, and finally had a chance to meet you, I think, a year or 2 years ago. And it's an honor to be a part of what you're doing. And I respect everything that you do and love the entrepreneurship of everything that you're doing. And I know you're out there serving people too and doing what you do. So I think it's awesome. And I'm glad to be part of this, for sure.
Appreciate your encouragement so much, man. I'm encouraged by you. It's awesome to see everything that's going on with you guys. So that's it. I will make sure we got everything in the show notes. Make sure that you are on our next podcast. We're going to bring an incredible guest. You're not going to want to miss out, because you're going to learn just like you learned today from all that. I mean, you really dropped some great nuggets on here. So thank you so much, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
All right. Remember, be a servant, and we'll see you on the next Real Estate Profit Master podcast series. Bye now.
Hi, this is Corey Boatwright, and I have a quick question for you. What is the fastest way to reach your goals? Is it to work harder, work smarter, use system and processes, or hire rock star employees? What about just making more money? Actually, it's none of that. Those things are a byproduct of the one success component that every real estate investor or business owner that I know all have in common. And the answer is clarity. Complete laser focus on what you want, why you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it. So where do you find clarity? By hiring a coach and mentor. Now, could you reach the level of success that you want to achieve by doing this all on your own? The Lone Ranger. Well, maybe, but do you think it would take you double or even triple the time to achieve it compared to hiring a coach and mentor to help guide your path, provide proven instruction with a tailored blueprint that you could follow for building a real estate business that supports your lifestyle and helps you reach your financial and personal goals? Absolutely. Here's the fact. Time isn't recyclable. So I would like to ask you to make good use of it and extend a personal invitation for you to book a phone coaching strategy session by going to callwithcorey.com. That's callwithcorey, Corey spelled CORY.com. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions on that page, and we're going to go over and see how we can make sure that your business is on path to reach the goals that you want this year. So go to callwithcorey.com, that's CORY, and book your phone coaching strategy session today. Remember, be a servant, and I'll see you on there.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast Series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.